As you get ready to install Exchange 2003, you need to be aware of the requirements. You will see these on the exam in various forms. And Microsoft separates the requirements into system-wide requirements and to server requirements. First of all, system-wide. Your domain controllers in Active Directory need to be running Windows 2000 Server Service Pack 3 or Windows Server 2003. Understand, you can load Exchange 2003 on Windows Server 2000 with Service Pack 3, but you don't get all the bells and whistles until you load Exchange 2003 on Windows Server 2003. Now, your global catalog servers need to be running Windows 2000 Service Pack 3 or Windows Server 2003. You need the domain name system, DNS, and Windows Internet Systems, WINS, configured correctly in your Windows site. Setup's going to do some of this for you, and check that. Also, servers need to be running Windows 2000 Service Pack 3 or Windows 2003 Active Directory. Keep in mind, Active Directory has been enhanced here, and you have to make sure you have those. Now, on your individual servers, the server that you're going to put Exchange 2003 on needs to be running Intel Pentium or compatible, at least 133 megahertz or faster. Trust me, you don't want to put it on a 133 megahertz machine, but just agree with them on the test and you'll be fine about this. You want the fastest processor you can. Depending on the size of your organization, you may have multiple processors. Notice the RAM requirements, 256 megs minimum recommended. They will support 128 meg, but again, it's going to be sluggish. Be aware of that. You need at least 500 megabytes of available disk space. Obviously, there's not much room. Again, these are for testing purposes mostly. Most real-world situations, you're not going to put it on a system like this. You need 200 megabytes of available disk space on the system drive. Keep that in mind. No matter where you install Exchange, it's going to use 200 megabytes on the system drive on that box. You need a CD-ROM to install it. You can install over the network, but you need to use a CD-ROM. It's faster, easier, and you need a SVGA or higher resolution monitor. No surprise there. Specifically on the server, Exchange 2003 is going to require the .NET framework, ASP.NET, Internet Information Services, the World Wide Web Publishing Service, and the SMTP service, and the NNTP, Network News Transfer Protocol service. Now, I'll talk about, when we get into some situations a little bit later on, these things can be added by Exchange on an upgrade, but they won't be added on a new install. Look at the note here. On the Windows 2003 installation and services, when you load Windows 2003, I've already mentioned that, none of these services are installed by default. You will have to manually enable those. Now, I mentioned it previously, and it's going to confuse you. It still confuses me to a certain extent. Some of these things in certain situations get loaded for you, but for the most part, you need to plan on manually enabling these things. What will happen is you will kick off the installation on Exchange 2003, and it'll tell you, can't do it. You don't have this particular service, and you have to go turn it on. Now, on the Exchange 2003 installation, only the required servers are enabled. Make sure you hear this. Make sure you pay attention. What this means is that when we set up Exchange 2003, the POP3 service is not enabled on it. Neither is IMAP 4. You're going to have those for Outlook to perform. So again, test it, work with it, understand there's a little more involved with Exchange 2003 than there was in previous versions if you've worked with those. No longer do you just stick the disk in, turn it on, and you got Exchange going. You're going to have to dig a little bit here. In the next video, I'm going to show you right quick how to enable some of those Windows 2003 services. It's a question everybody asks. Let's go ahead and cover that so you'll see what's going on.